1 million soldiers of the North Korean People's Army and 4 million reservists are ready to repel the enemies of the Republic. This fact, along with persistent rumors about the participation of Korean volunteers in the conflict on Russia's side, has been stirring up the information space for more than a week. Why does Russia need the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and vice versa? Why does Ukraine have almost nothing to do with this? How is the most powerful nuclear alliance in human history being formed? And why is this good news? We'll talk about this, about the new hero of the week, as well as new Russian technology, as usual, after a brief summary of positive news. In Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, 2 small fishing schooners of Project 04-130 have been launched, and in Omsk, a non-self-propelled barge, UTK 3002, at the Yaroslavl shipyard. 2 diving vessels of Project 02-220 have been laid down. In Yakutia, construction of the Lenski Bridge has begun. Koldingstan has started mass production of new machines for aircraft manufacturing. In Moscow, production of lithium-ion battery packs for drones has begun. In the Moscow region, servers with neural network accelerator modules by NTC module are being produced. In the Kaluga region, polymer packaging is being manufactured. In Kurgan, loader production is underway. In the Nizhny Novgorod region, chemical products are being produced. And in Ufa, furniture manufacturing is taking place. All month, Western media have been full of rumors about North Korean volunteers fighting on Russia's side. And, although such a move would be quite logical, considering that it was the Soviet Union that contributed to the very emergence of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea in 1948, and then provided significant support during the Korean War. There is no confirmation of this fact so far, nor of any deliveries of Korean weapons to Russia. That would also be quite fair, considering all the help the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics provided in developing the armed forces of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the emergence of its nuclear technologies, submarine fleet, aviation, and other branches of the military. After the signing of the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement between our countries this summer, direct or indirect involvement of the Koreans in the conflict would be more than justified. However, our partnership has another, more global goal, and to understand this, it is necessary to briefly recall the preceding events. After the collapse of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, our relations with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea were practically reduced to nothing. We were putting out a fire in our own house and objectively did not have the opportunity to help our former allies to the same extent as before. However, as early as the year 2000, a treaty of friendship, good neighborliness, and cooperation was signed. And in the same year, the new president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, made the first ever state visit to Pyongyang. The ice was broken, but there was still a long way to go before an alliance. In 2010, President Dmitry Medvedev signed a decree on Russia joining the United Nations Security Council sanctions against the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, and later Putin extended them as well. This may seem strange, almost like betrayal, but in politics, things are never as they appear at first glance. It should be said that after parting ways with the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, the North Koreans themselves were not eager to embrace us. China took the place of the main trade and political partner, and they too were not thrilled about the prospect of friendship between Moscow and Pyongyang. To somehow balance China's influence, the Koreans tried to get closer to America's enemies, Japan and the South Koreans. We didn't want to openly interfere in this Asian game, so our relations moved into the so-called gray zone, where formal sanctions are not an obstacle. And miracle of miracles. In 2006, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea conducted its first nuclear explosion and soon became a new nuclear power. And in 2012, it launched its first satellite into orbit and became the 10th space power. This was followed by an avalanche of progress in the development of nuclear warhead delivery systems, including intercontinental ones. And all this happened under strict sanctions. Russia continues to formally express concern about the actions of the Koreans, but they don't seem to take offense in response. On the contrary, in 2014, they became one of the few who recognized the legitimacy of Crimea's return to Russia. And our rapprochement really accelerates after 2022. And it's not about Ukraine at all, as one might have thought in 2021. The United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia announced the creation of a military alliance aimed at the Asian region. As part of the new alliance, the construction of at least 8 nuclear submarines for Australia is planned, and later the possible joining of Japan and Canada is mentioned. This is nothing less than a blatant and brazen disruption of the entire system of checks and balances in the Asia-Pacific region. It threatens not only China, but also North Korea and Russia. Once again, our Far East is under threat. We definitely don't want a repeat of the events of the Russo-Japanese War at the beginning of the last century. Naturally, the creation of Australia, United Kingdom, United States removes many restrictions for those it's aimed against as well. As a result, in 2022, the North Koreans clearly and openly take the side of our country, while the Chinese provide, albeit restrained, but significant support for our position. It is the United States, through its actions, that is facilitating the rapprochement of 3 nuclear powers whose combined potential exceeds that of America and all its allies. For now, this is not yet an official alliance, but its outlines are already quite clear. If it weren't for that bold move by the Americans into the Asian region in 2021, who knows? Maybe the Ukrainian crisis would have been resolved differently. Now, in 2024, Russia has a mutual assistance agreement with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and is preparing to sign a similar agreement with Iran. And this week, a Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa summit was held in Kazan, attended by the leaders of China, India, Egypt, Turkey, and other countries. Right now, a new political order of the world is being formed, and Russia is one of its architects. In this sense, the question of whether North Koreans are actually participating in combat operations is not fundamentally important. Their outcome is predetermined anyway. But the future world does not exist yet. We are confident that open economic rapprochement between Russia and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea will begin soon as well. We have a lot of frozen projects in the fields of mineral extraction, space, nuclear science, and transportation, not to mention the military industry. And most importantly, there is a history of friendship and mutual assistance that cannot be erased from the memory of our peoples. We will keep you updated on further developments. Now, 3 news stories from the world of Russian technology. The forum features the largest KAMAZ dump truck with a total weight of 95 tons. The Atlant 65 is a mining dump truck with a platform capacity of up to 41 cubic meters and 65 tons. Only the unmanned vehicle Jupiter has a higher payload capacity in the manufacturer's lineup. But for now, that's still an exotic option. But the Atlant 65 and its younger brother, the Atlant 50, are expected to go on sale as early as next year. At the same time, the Russian Kolomensky plant sent 20 engines to the Belarusian automobile plant for a pilot industrial batch of Bell AZ 75304 dump trucks with a payload capacity of 220 tons. Our power units will allow us to replace foreign counterparts. 4 Bell AZ trucks with these are already undergoing testing, and the new batch will speed up the import substitution process. The long-awaited new product was presented by showing the new Russian gasoline engine PTAA with a displacement of 2.2 liters and a power output of 245 horsepower. Let me remind you, this is the developer of the lineup of vehicles. At the very beginning of this project, we said that after creating premium class cars and mastering the relevant technologies, work on more budget-friendly options would inevitably begin. It was previously reported that they are preparing their own business class model. This engine was probably created specifically for it. Therefore, it is possible that in the future, a detuned version of this engine will appear, which will be even closer to the mass consumer. All these and other news are published daily on the social media pages of the Vremya Vipird project and are actively discussed by our subscribers. Join us if you have something to say and subscribe on any platform that's convenient for you.